Theory 1. This is lesson 24, and today we are just applying some of the things we learned last week. So last week we talked about how a quarter note tied to an eighth note, when we add those two together, this one gets one beat, the eighth note gets half of a beat, okay? So when they're tied together, that equals 1.5 beats. And then there's one note that equals that, which is a dotted quarter note, okay? So a dotted quarter gets 1.5 beats. Now, how many eighth notes are inside that quarter note? We were gonna say if the quarter note, how many eighth notes live inside one quarter note? It's 2, right? So when we count that, we say 1 and. And then this gets half, so that would be 2. 1 and 2. Now, here's where, stick with me and pay really close attention. These 2 eighth notes live inside here, right? This equals this quarter note. So when we have a quarter note, we can actually count it by saying 1 and, right? Even though we're not going to play another note on the and, 1 and, we're going to keep our bow going, but that and still lives in there, okay? So a quarter note, 1 and, if you were going to play this, you would play 1 and 2, 1 and 2, okay? So if we tie all of this together, when we count a dotted quarter note, it gets 1 and 2. And then this would be the and of 2, right? 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So when we write counts for a dotted quarter note, it gets a number and the and, that's inside the quarter note. And then the dot gets one more eighth note, which would be the next number, okay? So if you look at the very top of your page, I put some of our Suzuki songs that have dotted quarter notes in them. So the very first one, Waltz, has a dotted quarter. We're in 3/4 time. So we're going to have 3 beats in each measure. Here's the first measure, second measure. Okay, so the very first note, the quarter note part gets 1 and, the dot gets 2, then under this first eighth note, 1 and 2, what do you say after 2 when you're counting eighth notes? You say and. 1 and 2 and. Then what number comes after the and of 2? This would be 3 and this would be and. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, next one. 1 and the dot gets the number. Then the next eighth note, what do we say after we say a number and we're counting eighth notes? We say and, right? So 1 and 2 and 3. Whoops. My and kind of went crazy. And. Okay. Now, what if that dotted quarter note is in the middle of the measure? Let's say we're in 3/4. This one isn't on your page. We would write, this one would get all of beat 1. Then this would get the number 2 and. The dot would get the next number. I have half of 3. I have half of beat 3 left. Okay, this doesn't get all beat 1 or all beat 2 and all beat 3. There's still half missing. So this is the and. 1. So it'd be 1, 2, and 3 and 1, 2, and 3 and. Okay, so that's how you're counting. And on the very first line, For waltz, you would write in this count on the very first line. The last measure is 3/4 notes, so that would just be 1 and 2 and 3 and, right? Each quarter note gets a note, the number. Okay, second line is in 4/4, so each measure you should be counting to 4 when you do that. But make sure if you have a dotted quarter note, it needs a number and the and, that equals the quarter, then the dot gets half of the next beat. So whenever you have a dotted quarter, it gets 2 numbers, and then the next note gets the and, because half of that beat is not inside. We still have half that we have to identify, okay? The next part, you're going to be writing in the note names. So tell me what the letter name for each note is. Write it on the blank. We have 2 new dynamics. Oh, give me a minute. I need to get my eraser. 2 new dynamics. When you have 2 F's, we say that word in Italian, 1 F is forte. So the second F, we say fortissimo, okay? So I-S-S-I-M-O. Issimo means very. So if F means loud, this is very loud, okay? Fortissimo, or tissimo, either one, fortissimo or fortissimo. You can say with the short vowel I sound. Or pianissimo, very soft. So piano, we leave off the O and say pianissimo, pianissimo. Try saying it, pianissimo, okay? So you have pictures there at the bottom. There's the first one is of a kid yelling. So would that be fortissimo or pianissimo? The next one is of a butterfly. Fortissimo or pianissimo? Just write the symbol. Water boiling. Fortissimo, pianissimo. A girl riding a bicycle. The actual sound of the bike. Okay? A fire truck siren going. Do you see how there's like lines coming from the light? So that means his siren is on, is what I'm thinking. Then the next one is a motorbike who is like back on one wheel. So he's revving his engine, getting ready to take off. Fortissimo, pianissimo. Then at the bottom, I give you all of the dynamic signs. Can you put them in order from loudest on the left side to softest? So loudest to softest. Which one is the very loudest symbol? Put that on the left side, and then put the very softest symbol on the right side, and then put them in order for that. Okay? That's lesson number 24, and I'll see you guys next week.